Discussion and recommendations concerning financial state of the village. And I know I think the village clerk sent some emails out to the trustees. I think Mr. Mohan sent some emails out to the trustees asking for trustees to provide recommendations as to financial state of the village. And I didn't see any trustee respond. So I'm open up to the floor to start with and see if the trustees have any recommendations. So what we're going to do is I'd like to move forward on some discussion. We've looked at the finances of the village, and I did receive an email, or I didn't receive the email back to the village clerk from trustee Washington asking what past precedents was set for the finances of the village. So I did a little bit of research on what the village has done in the past to be able to continue moving forward. And what I found was in 2007, 2008, the village took out line of credits. And those were under ordinances numbers 0851 and 0760. In 2009, the village took out a promissory note, and that was under ordinance number 0940. And then, of course, the village knows what happened after 2009. The administration felt that they would go ahead and take loans from the water fund to keep the village moving forward, and which is not against the law, which is not illegal. It's by state statute. Everything was done legally. Money was paid back to those funds. So looking at that, again, this is nothing new to the village. The village has always had to either take out lines of credit, they've either had to take out promissory notes, or they've had to borrow from the water fund to continue to keep the village moving forward. And this goes all the way back to 2007, based off of some of the things that I looked up. So knowing that, the village could probably continue going forward borrowing money from the water fund. However, we all know that we're working on a consent order through the IPA. We know that we need to build the revenues that we have in the water fund so that we can continue to meet that consent order. So knowing that, I would ask that we move forward tonight and consider going out for a line of credit. Now, there is on the agenda at the 7 o'clock meeting to an ordinance to be able to move forward. In fact, I have an ordinance. Let me pass it. Hang on 1 second. Make copies of it. See if you can pass it right now. This allows us as a village to go out and look for a line of credit, work with the banks, and as the ordinance states, it's not to exceed more than $500,000. And this ordinance is just based off of the same ordinance that was passed back in 2007, 2008, that time frame. So it's pretty much the same ordinance that the board passed back then. So again, we know that we need to have money inside our water fund to move forward, and I'd rather not continue borrowing money from the water fund because we're getting closer and closer for the lower interest loan for the IEPA, and we need to make sure that we have those funds available inside that account. So this line of credit is not to exceed $500,000, and again, this is nothing more than businesses do, municipalities do, is get a line of credit so that we can continue making payroll, so we can continue moving the village forward as we wait for our tax revenue to start coming in. Do you have anything you'd like to add? Okay, with that said, I'll open it up to the floor, to the board.
I do.
Go ahead.
First thing, I did talk to Mohammed. I did come in and talk to him about the state of the village as far as financial status, and I want to go back to when you said recommendations. First of all, before we get this line of credit, how are we for next payroll coming up on the 27th?
Next payroll, I'm expecting money from Illinois income tax in the amount of $510,000.
because the last communique that you sent out stated that we were borrowing for the 20th, on the 20th. Then you also stated that we would have to have a meeting, and I think the mayor knows about it because he's the one that said he was going to come up with something for the 27th. So therefore, our...
Right now, we didn't borrow anything.
No, I understand that. I'm saying, but your communication stated that we would have to... Right, we may have to. So you're saying right now we don't have to do anything for the 27th of November? Okay, so we have enough for that.
And I think with the correspondence from the finance director was making sure to get out to the village board early enough that just in case the money didn't come in and we needed to make payroll, he wanted to make sure the board knew.
Okay. But it hasn't came in yet though, has it?
No, the money's come in to make payroll.
To make the 27th payroll?
Yes.
Okay. So this money that we're talking about getting the line of credit, first of all, are we guaranteeing anything? Is it going to be backed by anything, or is it just going to be a basic loan?
Not yet. They are not committed yet. We are slow and
This
affecting the USDA.
this is something that they requested that we pass an ordinance before they move forward, so that before they do all the work to get everything put together, and then if the village board's not for it, they want to see an ordinance in place saying that they're authorizing the village to move forward for a line of credit. So that's what the ordinance is for
Right.
tonight.
I just read that, but I wanted to know, do they know what it kind I mean, I don't want to borrow money and find out later that the interest rate is double digit, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, and I think it's in the best interest. It's in the best interest of the village and its residents not to get something like that. So, again, working with our banks, trying to get the best interest rate, we're looking at multiple banks to find out if they're even interested in giving us a line of credit. So this is just like the first step is reaching out to the banks. This is the second step where you pass the ordinance so it shows the banks that the village wants to move forward with the line of credit. And then as we get the information will be provided to the board so that they'll be able to see exactly what they're offering us for when it comes to interest rates, the term of the, if you will call it the loan, the line of credit, when it has to be paid back, all that has to be presented back to the board. This is just so we can get to that next step.
I understand that, Mayor, but my question is either this or the highway? It's basically what I'm saying. You know, that's the way you presented it. Now we have to go this route because we've exhausted everything, so we have to go with a line of credit. I'm just wondering, has there any, or I see now that there isn't any interest rate, or they haven't projected one because we haven't gave them. I'm just looking at once, because it's stated here in the ordinance that we're giving the mayor the power to do whatever necessary to guarantee this loan or to secure this loan, which means at that particular point, which right now we have no other choice. We have to do something. I'm just wondering, has there been any inquiry as to what the interest rate may or may not be? They won't even give us that until they get the executive order that we have an ordinance that's been passed?
Not yet. The ones I provide all the information, the ordinance copy, then there was the rate of interest and other conditions of still they have not come.
But by that time, the board has already gave consent, so whatever it is, it is.
Okay. Probably it will not be more than the market rate.
Okay.
Market rate is almost 6 or 7% right now. It will not be
And my last question, the loan that we just did from our own selves, 400, that's coming out of the tax. This has nothing to do with that. This will be a separate.
And again, this is a line of credit. And I guess the village board could probably consider just going forward and continue getting money out of the water fund. But again, we know the loan is coming up. And we know that the IEPA is looking for money to be inside the water fund. We do not want to jeopardize moving forward and jeopardizing our consent order to the courts.
I understand, Mayor. I mean, we've done this, as you stated, at least 2 or 3 times before. In the past, we had a line of credit. We were able to pay it off in the next installment of taxes. This one won't happen this time, so we'll have to take out an actual loan payment. But I'm just looking, I mean, I'm glad that we didn't go and borrow money from the water fund at this particular time. But Are these funds going to be used for payroll, or is it going to be used for debt service? You have no idea what you're going to use it for.
We're concentrating only to use it on payroll only. Nothing else. Maybe a little bit of other liabilities like legal fees and REC, and bank.
Because come March, we have to pay back 400-some thousand from the taxes. So I guess this would be, I don't know, I'm asking. Would this be part of that, to pay that, because the 400,000 that we borrowed was money that was already budgeted for this ensuing year? So will this take care of that, and then we'll just pay that back? I mean, just asking a question. I don't know how you plan on it.
Until March, we're going to be able to pay back.
No, I'm saying when March comes, when we get the money from the federal taxes, I don't know how much it is, tax right. I don't know how much it is, but we're obligated to pay that back from the funds back. Will you be using that money that we're getting now to pay some of that back, or?
Hopefully, we can use the money and pay back all the funds we borrowed.
We're expecting, if I remember right, about 2.3 million. 2.4 million. And plus there's other money that's coming in, but those go to certain locations. But of the $2.4 million, I mean, it would be my recommendation to pay back these loans. And again, with a line of credit up to $500,000, we would hope that we wouldn't have to use the full $500,000, but it gives us a line of credit up to $500,000 until we start seeing our tax money coming in.
But my original question was, when we get the tax money, we've already stated that we were going to use it to pay back the money that we borrowed from the water fund and from the CNN grant. Okay. Because really, it's coming out. The money that's coming in is the money that we use for our budget. That's part. So therefore, that'll be put back into the budget. Is what I'm trying to say. So basically, this will be something that we're doing proactively now to offset that amount of money that's coming out. Is that what this is? That's what I'm asking.
Yes. The goal is to pay the money back once the tax revenue starts coming in, to pay the money back to the accounts that we borrowed from, and to pay back this line of credit, so that that's wiped clean, and we'll continue moving forward with what money revenues we have left. Okay,
I just wanted to straight. I mean, the only answer I wanted is, are we going? Okay, the 500,000 that we have a line of credit. We borrowed 430-some thousand already from our funds, which we said we're going to pay it back out of the tax money. Okay. Now, we know that if we pull that money out of taxes, something's going to go lacking. There's going to be a deficit somewhere, because all that money that's coming in March was budgeted for. That's what we budgeted. So now, since we're going to do this line of credit, are we going to dedicate some of this or most of this money to pay that debt off that way, rather than try to pull the money out of the taxes? I know you said we can. I'm just. That's what I'm asking.
I guess I'm misunderstanding, because the money that we're getting the line of credit for is money that we budgeted for also. When you look at payroll is budgeted. Okay, so this line of credit is to go toward payroll. It's going to pay the bills. I mean, it's not. We're not getting a line of credit to go purchase something.
No.
So I don't understand.
Okay, the line of credit is nothing that we didn't budget for a line of credit. When we budgeted for money that was coming in from taxes.
Right.
We did not have no idea at that time that we were going to use that money for this. I'm asking, since we stated, and since it was stated at the meeting, that we would pay back the money that we borrowed as soon as we get the money in from the taxes. Now, I'm asking, instead of doing that, taking that money out of the taxes, which is part of what we use payroll for and everything else, for the budget, are we going to use this money, line of credit, to pay back the water fund and the CN fund out of this, or are we going to still go forth and pay and take the money out of the taxes to pay back the water fund?
Yeah, the line of credit is not to pay back any of the.
Okay, so therefore we're still going to go forth and pay the CN money and also the water fund money out of the taxes.
Correct.
Okay, so this won't. That's all I was asking. So this is going to be separate. Okay.
Yes, Trustee Marsh.
What's the final percentage and going to be length here?
percentage yet. What we have is, this is the second step of working with the banks. The first step was reaching out to them. The second step is making sure that there's an ordinance saying that we want to move forward for the line of credit. They will provide, if we're eligible, they'll provide all that information to us with the amount of payment, the interest rates, things like that. Any other questions? All right. This ordinance is on the agenda tonight for the 7 o'clock meeting for the line of credit. So if you have any questions before the next meeting, you can reach out to Mr. Mohan. He's got the answers. Again, just like I said, this is the next step where the village can move forward to get the line of credit with the banks. All right. Is there anything else we want to discuss about the finances? I can't think of anything right now. We'll move it up to item number 3, public comments on the agenda items only.
Get money for Peter's cousin, so I'd like to know what we're going to do for cutting of expenses here. And it's my understanding that according to what Trustee Burgess was asking, we get $2.54 million for income tax. We're going to get, already paid $450,000. We're going to get an additional $500,000, and all this is going to be paid out of the tax revenue money that we're going to get. Is that right? You're going to reimburse us for the tax revenue money?
Is that all your questions?
No, okay, did I get anything? I didn't get anything. Okay. Do y'all want me to start from the beginning, or did everybody get my questions?
Well, I think what we have before us tonight is there's an ordinance that the village can establish a line of credit up to $500,000. This is so that we can go to the banks, and the banks know that the village wants to move forward on this. There are certain things that the banks ask for. They're asking for financial statements. They're asking for the application. They're asking for an ordinance. There's certain things that they ask for so they can move forward on their end. This allows us to move forward on that. Again, the line of credit is up to $500,000. This allows it where we have $500,000 sitting out there. Okay, and if we get to a point where we don't have enough to make payroll, rather than coming back and borrowing money from the water fund, we have this line of credit to come back and make payroll. The object of this $500,000 is, number one, not to use the full $500,000. Okay, the object is having this out here so we can continue making the day-to-day and continue to make payroll. And again, there are some small bills and stuff out there we may have to reach out to pay, but. Again, a lot of businesses do this when it comes to certain times of the year, and the municipalities do this. And again, it's not something the village hasn't done in the past. This is something that, again, if you go back and look at the ordinances, which I gave them out earlier, the ordinances show that the village did this in 2007, 2008, 2009, and after 2009, the previous administration decided they'd start taking money from the water funds. And everyone knows that it came out that the village was borrowing money from the water funds to continue to keep the village moving forward. So, you know, we're getting away from borrowing money from the water funds and going back and getting the line of credit. And it's important because we have other obligations to meet when it comes to getting our low interest loan through the IEPA. We need to make sure that there's funds available inside our water fund. And rather than borrowing money From there, and having nothing there, we want to make sure we continue to build that up so that when we finally get the loan, everything is in place like it's supposed to be. So,
One question in that, what's the plan to cut spending?
cutting spending will have to come out in the next budget. I mean, we're on a budget year right now. Again, when we look at our department heads, we tell them to cut overtime and as much as they can. There's some departments that, we've got our fire department out working on a fire right now. You have ESA out there working on a fire right now. When you have events that happen in your community, your police department, they have to work overtime. So we cut overtime where we can. That's one thing. We look at spending. We try to make sure we spend less, and department heads know, and then Sherry's sitting right there, you got Mohan. They're very good at, they only get what they need. They know that the finances of the village, so our department heads have a tight belt on right now. But as we get ready to go into this next budget year, there's going to be some tough decisions. And this board is going to have to make some tough decisions on what we're going to be doing moving forward. So I think we made some tough decisions in the last budget, and everyone thought we couldn't get any tougher. It's going to get even tougher. You know, again, what else do? We continue to reach out for economic development. We continue to reach out, see if we can bring more businesses to our community. And we're working out there weekly, reaching out to businesses, we're reaching out to our state reps, we're reaching out, letting people know that Sauk Village is the place to come. We know that we have one store opening up on Sauk Trail, which is Boost Mobile. We've already been contacted for another store to open up, which is Advanced Auto Parts. We're working with the brokers over in our TIPS, which is Lee Associates, and trying to see, we know we have one building that's vacant over there, that's over a 700,000 square foot building. We are reaching out to see what we can do, if there's any businesses out there that would like to move into that location. Come January, we're hosting an economic development caucus and forum right here at the Village Hall. So again, that allows brokers, it allows economic development people to come to Sauk Village. We're bringing them here to showcase our community and hopefully get more businesses to come to Sauk Village. So there's a lot there, and I don't know if I answered your question totally, and I'm sure there's probably more that I could go on to what we need to do. But again, tightening our belts a little bit tighter, which we're doing it right now. Continue to keep our belts tight. Continue to cut back on overtime. Continue to, as we go into the next budget year, to see where the cuts we're going to have to make, and make some of those tough decisions. But at the same time, we continue to move forward with the IEPA, with the consent agreement with the courts, and make sure that we don't go into further litigation, and that's important. So, and again, our litigation costs have gone down in the past year. They continue to go down, and you're going to find out some of the things that's going to be coming out. You look at our police department is being tougher on crime. So we're going off for fighting crime. We're cutting back on litigation costs. We're not having village board meetings when we don't need them. People may criticize that. But if there's nothing on the agenda, there's nothing to present for the village board, we're saving the residents' money. I mean, when you don't have a meeting, it's approximately $800. It may not sound like a lot, but if there's nothing to present, this is when we do business right here. It's not a social time, it's a business time. So if there's nothing to present to the board, we're not having a village board meeting. So there's things that we're looking at how we can do that. So I don't know if that answers your question. So. I'm sorry.
Judy Gaster, there's a couple of things that I don't understand. The ordinance that you're attempting to get passed, I understand what you're saying about the need for the money and stuff like that, but a couple of things that say
The lobbyist is working for Sauk Village. The lobbyist was in Springfield during the veto session, seeing what they can get for the village. They continue to reach out to find out what they can do for the village. They're looking at three things we talked about was water, which is infrastructure, streets, and economic development. They've reached out already to I think 1 or 2 businesses to ask them to contact Sauk Village. They were down in Springfield during the veto session to see if there's any money's available. So that they're out there, again, keeping Sauk Village in the face of our state representatives and in the face of the government. So they are working out there. I just sent a letter out. There's approximately $25,000, I think, that was available for Village of Sauk Village. I sent the letters out to our state reps. I've already sent letters out to the governor, asking them to release that $25,000. That $25,000, I told them would be allocated toward infrastructure, which is going toward fire hydrants. So I mean, we are reaching out to try to get those funds. So there's things that's going on. You talk about the lobbyists. The ordinance is before us tonight during the 7 o'clock meeting. Let's see here. The village is authorized to establish a line of credit with a bank or financial institution. Let's see here. The village mayor is authorized to direct to execute any necessary loan documents subject to review and approval by the finance director. So what we're doing is the board is saying, yes, we want to move forward to see if we can get this line of credit. And it's authorizing us to go ahead and provide all these loan documents and do all the work to get it. Okay? Everything is going to end up coming back before the village board. The village board needs to know what the interest rates are. The village board needs to know exactly, are we going to get it? And we don't know for sure. I mean, we're saying not to exceed $500,000. The bank may say, we're only going to give you $200,000 for a line of credit. We don't know that information yet. So that's why we're here tonight. And again, I've reached out to the board. I've had the finance director reach out to the board. I had the village clerk reach out to the board. This is something that's not a surprise to anyone. We've done good for the last year. And we're still making payroll. That's what's important. Here we are in the month of December, we're making payroll. But you know, we're being proactive. We know there's a problem. We know that we're going to be running short. So rather than waiting until there is no money at all, we're taking the steps necessary to say, you know what, we know that we're going to need some money coming up. We know that we're not going to start seeing tax revenue until the end of the first quarter. And we need to do something. So this is making sure that the steps are in place and this line of credit is sitting out there in case we need to pull from that money. So I don't know if I answered your question. I'm trying to
It answers my question, and I understand what you're saying, but I understand where we're coming from. At a previous meeting, you got approval to shift money around to do whatever. And I asked a lot of questions as to getting pay raises and doing things that I felt that, even though they're commendable and the people that got them deserve them, in the position we're in, should we be spending their money? I asked a lot of questions because I didn't understand. You may have known what was going on, and maybe some of the people sitting up there might have known what was going on. We didn't. We didn't know about this until tonight.
Correct.
So, you know, we didn't know. And I really have an issue with being frowned upon, eyes rolled, or whatever, when I ask the question. I'm asking because I'm concerned.
I'm not on my eyes, am I? Is it?
No.
Okay, I just want to make sure. No,
But I appreciate your answers. I appreciate the time. But I am concerned.
and again, I think we're all concerned, but we're at a concern level here where we see past precedents. And if you go back, like I said, going all the way back to 2007, this is something the village has had to do going all the way back to 2007. So again, and you said you didn't know anything about this. You're correct. That's why we're having a special meeting so we can discuss this in the open. The board, I reached out to the board and asked for suggestions. Okay? I had one trustee that came back and asked what was done in the past. Okay? So I'm presenting this to the board and saying, you know, this is what was done in the past, because she asked what was done in the past. And I'm presenting it, saying, here's what was done in 2007, 2008, 2009, and we already know what happened after 2009, between 2009 and 2013. So, that's why I started getting the ball rolling, asking the finance director, you know what, let's start doing what was done in the past and see if we can get this to the board. That's why we call for a special meeting. That's why the trustees tonight just saw the resolution, or the ordinance. So, you know, again, I reach out, and I continue to reach out. If the trustees can come back with something, you know, I'm open-minded. And I'm willing to say, you know what, you know, I'm willing to look at other options. But nothing's coming to the center of this table on where we should go and what we should do. And no other suggestions have been made.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, as I stated before, I was here yesterday. I sat down and talked to Mohan. I don't know how long it was, and we discussed this. I don't know. I thought maybe he might have related to you, but I think he probably didn't have a chance to. But I did ask him the same question that I asked him tonight about, because I even asked him. He did tell me about the line of credit. I asked him what we're going to use to secure this loan, because we don't have an audit. We're still 2 years behind, and he's just saying, well, we're going to try to base it on 2011 audit. But I did ask about the same question I asked, were we going to use this money to help pay back some of that money so we can defray the cost of trying to pull this money out of the taxes that are coming back in March? That's why I asked that question again tonight, because I did propose that to Mohan. He really didn't know, and that's why I was asking you. I don't know what you guys discussed, but that was my concern. I know we have to pay payroll. I know we have other obligations. I even asked about the payroll. He said that might be suspect, but between yesterday and today, I guess miraculously we got enough money to pull and to pay payroll. Because when I talked to him, we didn't have enough money to pay payroll. So I guess it must have came in today. But those are the questions. But to say that the board didn't try to, or that we didn't, or the board didn't come back, I talked to Mohan. I didn't talk to you. I talked to you on the phone last week, and you told me that we were going to have to do something between now and then. You said we had to have a special meeting. Next thing I know, there was a special meeting called for today at 6 o'clock. And I talked to you on the phone about that. But I did talk to Mohan. I did ask those questions. This is not nothing brand new. I talked to him and asked the questions. He didn't have the answer. That's why I brought it back today at the meeting, because those are some of the questions I need to know, because we continue to keep borrowing. We're going to have a $400,000 debt that we're going to pay off with the money that we got coming in. So that's going to leave a $400,000 hole into the tax money. Now we're borrowing $500,000 that we're going to pay back in increments, which would be for as far, or it could be as high as 10 years. Now we're carrying this debt over like it was a bond. So every year we have to do that. I mean, at some point in time we have to say, okay, we got to do something, but don't just to say that no one came up or no one had any suggestions. I did have a suggestion with Mohan, and I told him that we need to look at, if we're going to borrow this, and it was a good thing. If we were borrowing the money to pay us back, we pay that back and then pay that off in increments. That makes sense. Because now we're paying back the money that was budgeted from the budget for the taxpayers. We're paying that off and we're paying that back in increments. Now what we're just saying is we're going to still pay the money out of the tax money. We're going to still pay this out of the tax money, and still we're going to go ahead and borrow another $500,000. We're still going to have that same hole come March, because we still have other obligations. We got back pay that's going to come in, and other things that are coming in March, litigation and things like that. So when I talked to him, I had expressed my concern about, okay, well, this is going to help pay that money back that we just got out of the funds. Fine, that makes sense, because we have to do something. But if we're going to still have that money, we still got to pay that out of that. This is where we're hoping that we get this and this, but if it doesn't come and it doesn't come through, at some point in time we have to do something. I know it's, Mohan made a statement that, okay, we're going to get money coming in here, we're going to get money coming in that fund. But if those things don't happen, I guess this is what the line of credit is for, which makes sense. But if they do happen, I would like to see us on the way to try to pay some of this debt down. That's the only thing I'm saying. That's all.
And I'm glad the trustees are starting to ask questions. But again, we're looking for ways on what we can do. This tonight before you is one way, and this is what we're looking for. We're looking for the trustees to step up, and I'm looking at the trustees, I'm looking at the entire board. That if you can think of something else, if you can think of another way, you know, bring it to me. Come talk to me. So something. If you want to present it to the village board yourself, I've got no problem. We can put it on the agenda underneath your name, and you can present it yourself. But again, we need to continue to keep the village moving forward.
I had the question, but you asked the same question I was going to ask. So right to left, give you an idea what you're going to do. Instead of keep talking about this, why don't you go and suggest things to him, what you can do this way, what you can do that way. That's what he needs. That's what you guys are supposed to be doing. Instead of condemning what he's doing, go up and say, well, let me offer you a bit of help to see if we get this done a different way. That's all he's saying to you. That was the question I was asking. Go to him and say to him, look, what can I do to help you get this done? What can I do? I'm saying, well, we go this, go that. Show me somebody that's on the way and say, no, me. I don't see that. So that's what we have to look at. We know we in debt, we all know that. When you go to that election, you gave me any help. Don't condemn it. Go to work and try to help him do something. That's what I'm saying. My 3 minutes is up. So we'll say that somebody.
I'm going to answer that question, Mr. Mayor. First of all, there's only 2 ways that you can balance a budget. There's only 2 ways that you can bring money or bring things into balance in a village. 1, raise taxes. 2, cut personnel. That's the only way you can do it, unless you know somebody's going to be out there and hand you some money to say, here, put this in your pocket. It's the only way you can do it. If your spending overrides your income, then you have to stop your spending. That's as simple as that. It doesn't take a mathematician to figure that out. But to say that no one is trying to help, I talk to Mohan on a regular basis. I talk to yourself about this. Do I have the answers? No, I do not. But I do have suggestions. And there's only 2 ways I know. Now, someone else knows another way, but don't sit up and say nobody has tried. Don't sit up and say that, bro, I'm asking questions, Mr. Williams, because that's my job as a trustee to make sure that we ask the proper questions, because if this village goes under, the finances stay and they rest on the trustees. Mayor Hank's been a trustee for 14 years. He knows exactly that's what happens. We have to question. If we don't question, it behooves us, because the mayor can only do what the board votes on. He doesn't vote on the money. But to say that we don't try, don't have an idea, there's only 2 ways to do it. There's only 2 ways to do it. Balance a budget. Now, I'm not for raising taxes. I'm not for trying to go, we levy every year. We levy every November, every December, we levy taxes, and so does your school board, the school districts. They levy every year. That's why your taxes go up, because they're allowed to levy so much. We do it too. One year we had to do it twice because of a bond requirements. So I'm not looking to try to raise more money. The people that live in the village now are struggling. The ones that are still left here to call this a village, because everyone else is left. A lot of people just got up, walked out, but don't say that we're not, or we're criticizing. I'm not criticizing. I'm asking questions, is what I was elected to do, is ask questions. Because if I don't ask them, then so that's all I'm doing. I'm just asking questions. I'm not trying to browbeat. I'm not trying to talk against. I may talk loud because I may want to get my point across, but it's not to berate anyone. And I don't like that word to show that I'm trying to berate. I'm not trying to go against this administration, this mayor, nothing. I'm asking the questions that I feel should be asked.
Mr. Williams. Well, he said that was it. So, but Mr. Williams, I have to be consistent with everyone. So, but you know what? I want to hear what you say after the meeting. Okay? Trustee Worship.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to say, as a new trustee, that I know that people realize that Sauk Village is in a situation where we need money, but there are a lot of things that we could come together and discuss. It should not be that one person, whether it's the mayor or the trustees, feel like it's their one responsibility to bring Sauk Village out of the hole. Not only does the mayor and the board have an opportunity to reach out, like we went to the Illinois Municipal League, We networked down there. We met people down there. We met people from other municipalities, other villages that were going through the same things we're going through. But we have to learn, what did they do to get out? What were the things that they did, whether it was grant writing, whether it was fundraisers, whether it was economic development. After talking and networking with other people down there, we've learned a lot of different things that we could do to help our village. Attending all these different meetings that's going on with the South Suburban Mayors and Management, we learned about new opportunities and new money that's available to Sauk Village in the South Suburbs. Also, there are a lot of residents that know different ways that you can raise money. The lobbyists, it's going to take the whole village working together, not just the mayor, not just the board. A lot of people are intellectual and articulate and know how to find money and know how to do resource. So I'm making a plea to everybody in Sauk Village and our friends that are elected officials in other suburban surrounding Sauk Village. If you know a way that we can raise money, it's going to take all of us working together. It's not just up to the mayor, just the board. It's up to all of us to go out and try to, if we care about where we live, I think we should all get involved. Thank you.
I think what Trustee Burgess said was a good point as far as there's only two ways to get more money into the village. And we attempted to cut employees. We did. We made big cuts in code enforcement, we made big cuts in public works, and we've heard from multiple residents for multiple years how, why am I getting a ticket and so-and-so's grass isn't being cut? How come the leaves aren't being picked up? How come the snow isn't being picked up? We've heard problems. We've continued to keep those cuts. We're cutting services. When we cut personnel, sure, we're cutting how much money we're spending every 2 weeks for payroll, but we're cutting services for the residents. And I don't know, I don't have a time machine, but I don't know if anybody can recall, say probably 3.5 years ago, that there was one person on this board that said, the only way we're going to get out of this is to raise taxes. It was not a popular decision. It wasn't. And back at that time, that person who suggested that was not a homeowner and did not have to pay home taxes, pay taxes. But that person is now a homeowner. And I understand what raising taxes would mean. However, that is the only way it's going to happen. Trustee Washington said, we have to look at what other suburbs are doing. That's what other suburbs are doing. Everywhere around you is raising fees. Your postage stamp goes up every year. And they're laying off people. They're closing post offices because the prices are getting higher. No, we're not getting any more funding. The state's not paying us as they should because they don't have the money, because the government doesn't have the money. The federal government to pay them. We're decreasing in our resident taxes because people are moving out, as I don't remember which trustee said that. People are moving out, they're not moving back in. Renters are moving back in. So the problem is that I know it's not a popular decision, but just think, if we would have raised taxes 3.5 years ago, when I suggested it, where could we have been now? I don't know. We could have been way worse off. We could have had less homeowners in Sauk Village. I don't know. But part of the reason why it is difficult to make a suggestion, well, I do believe it's everybody's responsibility in Sauk Village. My background is not in finance. As long as I've been a trustee, we've relied on village managers, finance directors, the people who we pay to go out and assist us in research, tell us what we should be researching, give us the start line, basically. And I think that that's our job, to do the research, to do our own investigation, to come up with ideas. But unfortunately, we are kind of left at the guise of the people that we put in these positions. So that's, I think that, I don't hope I'm not speaking further, Mayor, but if anybody out there, as Trustee Washington said, we do have people, residents of Sauk Village, who are very capable. If anybody else can figure out a different way to do it besides the suggestion I have of raising taxes, feel free. I'm sure the mayor's email address is on the website, my email address is on the website. I don't think it's too much to ask to be an active citizen, to be an active participant. But unfortunately, as much as nobody wants to say it, raising fees like village stickers, fees like dog tags, fees like tickets, all these fees are the revenues that we get in, raising taxes, things like that. It's not something anybody wants to do. It's a necessary evil. And I do not see how we're going to be able to proceed with anything without doing something like that. Because I really don't think we can afford to cut any more services. We closed the village hall on Wednesdays. Oh my goodness, it was this big, huge deal. How could you do that? Oh no. Citizens can't come to village hall on Wednesdays. We did it as a cost savings. We heard flack, we opened it back up. I mean, we're damned if we do and damned if we don't in a lot of situations. So, I mean, the agenda is for people talking in the audience on board meeting nights. It used to be at the end, after we made the votes. Then we heard, well, why would you have the public comment at the end, after you took the votes? Because then we can't tell you how we feel about it. Okay, so we move it to the front, so people can tell us how they feel about it before we vote. Oh, well, no, well, see, now we gotta sit here, we gotta wait, and we wanna wait to the end of the meeting. Again, damn if you do, damn if you don't. So if anybody has any suggestions, I totally agree with everybody else on this board, let us know. But I would like to see an estimate on raising taxes. If you could come to the board at the next committee meeting on your professional opinion of what we could do. There's an election in March. It's something that would have to be a referendum. I'd like to put it on the table. I would like to seriously discuss it. 3.5 years ago, I was shut down. I could be shut down again. I'm just one person, but I'd like to throw it out there. Thank you.
If no one else has anything else on the board, I'd like to ask for adjournment because we have a 6:45, which I think we're late right now for our next meeting. So if there's nothing else, I'd ask for a motion to adjourn. Motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We adjourn. All right, we'll move into our very next meeting. Move into the special meeting for the corporate authorities. I got the right one. Village Clerk, please call roll.
Here.
All right. Move to item number 2, the 2013 CDBG performance hearing.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is our annual CDBG performance hearing required by the county to talk about what we did this past year with the funding that the county gave us. So here we go. Cook County requires recipients of community development block grant funding to conduct a performance hearing every November until all open projects are completed. So we're going to talk about the status, the estimated completion date, and financial status of Sauk. There's one open project, which is CDBG roadway repair project, Cook County project number 12-029. 2012 program year CDBG roadway repair project involved funding targeted to improve the following streets: 215th Place from Peterson Avenue to Jeffrey Avenue. This work consisted of surface removal and replacement, preparation of base and accurate base repair, combination concrete removal and replacement, sidewalk removal, replacement, and installation of detectable warnings, structure adjustments, and all necessary restoration. This work produced safer street conditions for those traveling on it and who live alongside this roadway. A total of 1,000 linear feet of roadway was replaced, and the project work has been completed. Cook County awarded Sauk Village $200,000 for the project. Contractor invoiced $257,274.48 in July. We are awaiting the contractor's final invoice for the project. The balance of the project will be paid for with motor fuel tax funding. 50% of the CDBG funding was applied for in June of 2013, and the remaining 50% of the CDBG funding was applied for in August. That is everything that I have. Questions?
Anyone on the board have a question?
215th Place from Peterson to Jeffrey.
All right, we'll open it up for public comment for this hearing. Any public comment? Seeing none, I ask for a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. We have approximately 5 minutes or so before the 7 o'clock meeting starts.
disclosures.